that I was going to do for that price, and you're asking me to do something extra, and I'm happy to do that, but it's going to cost more. And you sort of you've set those expectations about
the deliverables.
Deliverables, yeah. And if you're being, if you're the supplier and you're being asked to do more than that, then you're going to want more money. If you're the buyer, you want to be confident about what you're getting. Like, if I'm going to give you this amount of money, I want to know what the deliverables are. Like, what are you going to hand over to me? And, when do I have to pay the money? And so, the things that I always talk about are like managing the client, both parties managing each other's expectations. And I usually break that down to who's doing what, by when, how much does it cost, when is that money going to get paid? If you can get the contract to deal with those things, you'll probably have a pretty good outcome. And so I think businesses do sometimes come to me when they've been burned once or twice. Also, as their business grows and they're starting to deal with bigger companies, and they're fearful, I suppose, of, is there a balanced allocation of risk between us? Am I protected? Is my insurance protected? Am I looking after my insurance cover? Those sorts of things are important. And as your business grows, those risks grow with it, and sometimes not proportionately. Like sometimes, the growth of risk might be much greater than the growth in revenue or profit, and so it's worth thinking about those things, I think.
Within the property and construction space, there is to extreme end. There are quite a few booms and then busts on the extreme end. A lot of activity in that space. How much of that one could see from a legal point of view? What risks they haven't covered, somebody hasn't covered, so that the extreme end is bust?
Oh, well, I mean, we've seen a lot of that in the last 5 years, of course. I think,
if you can use a case study to elaborate.
Well, I mean, I don't typically give advice in the residential construction industry, but that is a good case study, right, to look at what happens when there's an extreme cycle. And of course, we really see that in WA, not just in construction, but in mining.
Yeah.
So our economy does tend to be cyclical. There's no question about that. But I think the residential construction industry is one that people are familiar with, and it is a good case study to think about what happens when unexpected influences converge. And, we really saw that. So in 2020, both the federal and state government in WA decided to invest in the residential construction industry because there were these concerns. There was uncertainty about what would happen. And so we had this sort of perfect storm where home buyers, I suppose, homeowners wanted to have a house built and take advantage of these grants. Yeah, there were grants, I think, that were available at the time. And so lots and lots of lump sum contracts were being signed at the time. And the residential construction industry is quite heavily regulated by legislation to protect homeowners from unscrupulous builders, if you like. But the effect of that legislation is that it's very hard for builders to negotiate variations to lump sum contracts. So they're kind of fixed price contracts. So builders are out in the marketplace signing fixed price contracts in whenever it was. Let's say it was like July 2020.